So I was a wee lad trying to make his way in the world, in even weirder than I am now. I
Mhm.
was 19. I was in New York. I actually had a flip phone for most of my life. I got it, I think, when I was a senior in high school or freshman in college. I had an iPhone at first,
Mhm.
and then I must have been a freshman in college, and then I had gotten a new one because the last one had broke, and the new one just like shut off one day.
Right.
And I went to the Apple store, to that fucking Stanley Kubrick, like dystopian, overly lit, evil empire store. And
It does give you Death Star vibes, right? Like
it
when you
makes me
walk in there.
really uncomfortable.
I hate
Like, I
going to the
really
apples.
don't like it. Something about it is just so, like, post-apocalyptic cyberpunk.
Yes. It gives me, like, even as somebody with an iPhone, it gives me I am in a cult type of
Yes.
vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
exactly.
yeah.
And I went to the store. I said, "This has broken." They like ran a bunch of tests on it. It took like an hour, and they're like,
Hmm.
"Well, we think it's water damage." I said, "I've never spilled water on this." And they said, "Okay, well, the warranty doesn't cover water damage. It's going to be $500 for a new one. Would you like to buy it now?" Like, I had no choice to buy back into this fucking cult, and I got annoyed, and I said, "No." And she said, "You're going to have to buy it eventually." And I said, "No." And then I went phoneless for like a few months, and I would like call my dad from house phones I was at,
Right. Jesus,
and
that is fucking nuts.
I would leave like a voicemail, and like my dad would call back, and they would be like, "Oh, sorry, like Jack's not here, like he's moved on." And eventually, I called him from like a payphone at a train station, and
Jack,
it
what
goes
year
like
is this? Wait. Because you said iPhone and then you just said I'm calling from a payphone
train
from a.
stations still have payphones.
I know, but it's just like I haven't physically seen one in such a
You
long
got to be
time
looking
being
for it.
innocent.
It's like the entrance to Narnia. You got to believe it's there, and it appears
Wow,
in front of you.
Jesus
Um,
Christ! Using a payphone in a train station is that's dangerous.
yeah.
You never know what germs is on the other side of that fucking.
Um, and he's like, "This is ridiculous. You have to get a phone. Like, I
Yeah.
can't do this. Like, I just need to be able to check in with you. We're living in modern times. We have modern expectations."
It's crazy when it's your father telling you
Yeah.
that.
So I went, and like right across the street was an AT&T store,
Mhm.
and I bought a flip phone for $50.
Okay.
And I had that for years, until I choked my way up the corporate ski ladder, and I had to be able to answer emails like from the chairlift, which a little piece
Right.
of me died the day I did that, when I answered an email skiing. And then I got a smartphone, which I have now. But I have a flip phone. I'm 19 years old. Um, I'm on the subway. I'm like looking at something. Um, and I look up, and there's this very cute, older looking woman smiling at me. So I said, "Hey." She said, "Hey." She said, "I love your phone." And I said, "Yeah." We started talking as one does. We transfer at the same station. Um, we get off at the same station. Sometimes God is just working with you.
Right. Because I'm already like, whoa, this is a doozy. Got off at the same station and transfer at the same station. I'm
Yeah.
like, and you guys have never crossed paths before.
Never. Um, we're still chatting about this, that, and the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like at 19, I was a baby face. Like, there was no mustache, no beard. It was just a doe-eyed, blue-eyed boy.
Right.
It was obvious. she seems to be unbothered, but it hasn't all come out so far. Hasn't
Right.
come up, I should say. And we get off and we're talking about how like we're both a little lost. And she's like, the best thing now is one of us had a smartphone. Her phone had like run out of battery. One of
Right.
us had a smartphone and like we could use GPS. And I was like, oh yeah, but I have the second best thing. And I pulled out a joint. This joint was meant for I was going to see a movie. I was going to see American Honey with two NYU friends. It's like one of those movies that like you only watch if you're 2-3 NYU students with nothing better to do on a Thursday night. And like
Okay.
you only say you like it if you're trying to prove that you're an artist. And I was supposed to smoke the joint with them. But I threw all that away.
I'm about to say, for
Yeah.
some old woman.
Well, that's where we get at. We're smoking the joint, and she finally goes like, "So how old are you?" I'm like, "I'm 19." And she goes, "How old do you think I am?" I looked her up and down, and I go, 24. She goes, "Older." I go, 26. Older. I go, 27. And she goes, 30. And I go, that doesn't bother me as long as it doesn't bother you. I have always skewed older, and I have skewed taller. And I have skewed doesn't have time for me. That's my unholy trinity of attraction.
That is a hell of a fucking 3-headed monster combination to look for. Man said older, taller, it has 0 time for me.
That's right. It doesn't want to make time.
That is toxic as hell.
Well, it's always like I always think of like a girl's like, I'm just not emotionally available right now. And in my head, I do the holes line of like, I can fix that. Like, you just weren't emotionally available because you hadn't met me yet. I got this.
Continue, please.
Yeah, I say like, oh, I'm going to NYU. Film student. She says, I'm a bartender and I'm a singer. And
sounds like 30 years old, living in New York.
Yeah. I was like, can you sing me a little something? Convince her to do so. She starts to sing. At the end, I say, when you sing, all I want to do is kiss you. And so then we start making out on the streets of New York.
Curry from 3. Curry from 3.
30 feet. Bang!
That's a hell of a shot there, friend. That's a hell of a shot there, friend.
There's nothing better than making out. It's the first kisses, like that's the good shit. Like if I could, I would like crush that up on the butt of a Bowie knife and snort it off of the tip. Like, that's the best drug ever taken by anybody. We're so now we're making out on the sidewalk. We're finally able to we exchange numbers, and she puts her name in my phone and it says Sabrina.
Right.
My mother's name is Sabrina.
Wait, no. Oh no, this is not going where I think it's gonna go. Oh no.
What? It's not my mother. Ew.
No, not that. I was like, you didn't send risky text accidentally to your mother, did you?
No.
That'd be like, oh, sweet baby Jesus. This is about to be a Dr. Phil session. This is about to be a Dr. Phil session.
I immediately change her name to Bree. I'm like, I'm calling you Bree. Your name in my phone is Bree. That's how we're running this.
Exactly.
Her name stayed in my phone to the point where one day I got a girlfriend named Bree, who I actually put into my phone as Young Bree. because to differentiate the two. And years later, as Bree and I are finally in a sturdy, steady relationship, she asked, like, why am I in your phone as young Bree? That's a whole different story.
Check back for a later episode, folks, for when he does tell that.
Me and old Bree separate.
Mm-hmm.
I go and hang out with my friends. I explain why I'm late. I explain why I do not have the joint I brought. Or the joint that I promised. They understand. And then Bree and I have a lovely fall together. I would go over to her place in the morning and she would make me pumpkin pancakes. They would taste like autumn. We would take shots of crack and tequila.
Of what?
Crack and tequila.
Oh, I thought you said crack and tequila. No, and I was just like, excuse me? What are we making
a hard left turn.
That's why I was just like, whoa. Whoa. Slow down in reverse, buddy. Bring that back.
And then I would go to class in the afternoon.
At 19 in New York, that is that's a hell of a lifetime to be having as your fall semester. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I'll go to class in the afternoon, a little buzzed. And then she turned 31 and I was out. No. It was... I went away for winter break and I couldn't bring myself to say like, hey, I have winter break. I'm not going to be around for a little bit. Like something about that was so juvenile that I couldn't say that. So we just sort of drifted apart from each other.
Got you.
She's doing well now. She would be 37.
Damn, she's older than me. Yeah, I mean, you said... Actually makes sense. Like you said, in regards to like age and everything, you were 19, she was 30. So yeah, that actually works out.
Yeah.
Which means she's actually not that much older than me. Like actually,
just a tinge.
Yeah, like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Well, and ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the 4th episode of Wrestling with Wromance. My name is Life with Deem, or you can just call me Deem. I'm one of your co-hosts, and I'm joined here by
Jack Simon, the co-host and today's romantic storyteller.
I would tell you, honestly, that is like one of the more nicer kind of like romantic stories we've shared here. It actually has a very subtle ending, something very calm. Not anything of just like, why did I get ghosted? Well, where did this woman show up with a boyfriend magically? You know? Or why was I possibly alcohol poisoned just to keep me in one steady place? Oh, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm sore as shit from boxing. My ski season is kicking off, and it's about to get real busy. But thriving overall, feeling good, feeling strong, feeling happy. How's you?
Nice. I am hustling. I'll call it that way. I am trying to get $1. I am trying to get $1 every way I can. For the people who are listening, I am a freelance artist, full-time artist. Fall season's always hard because there's no murals to get done like that because it's fucking cold. So since it's fucking cold, you know, I'm picking up things wherever I can. So right now I'm helping a friend paint and do a whole designing of their business, doing some merchandise for them, trying to figure out stuff. I'm doing stuff all the way to like research groups or like focus groups. I'm doing everything I can to get $1. So, you know, commissions, probably open up commissions later today on my Facebook, on my Instagram and everything, social media. But I'm grinding, doing the best thing I can. You know.
And that's all any of us can do.
Yeah.
Now what's on your heart?
Ooh. Man.
What's on your wrestling heart?
Excuse me. On my wrestling heart today, let me tell you. So I've been a fan, and I'll tell you this: as a wrestling fan, I got into, like, let's be honest, we're all a part of the internet wrestling community. Even this is through the internet. The
Sure.
internet dies out today. Me and you are not having a conversation. Actually, we wouldn't have even met if it wasn't for the internet, technically. So, you know, but there are some people who are just too invested on shit on this internet, like this internet wrestling community. There's things that are just, you take it too much to heart. You're just doing too much. And I see things sometimes where I'm just like, it's never that serious.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's just not that serious. It's well, I think in any fandom, you have bad fans, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You got the toxic fans. You have the
Of course.
overly invested fans, and like I understand being a fanatic, but I
Yes.
think there's a difference between a fanatic and overly invested. Like I got a family member who's like a Laker fan, and like
Ooh.
you can't watch the Lakers with him because he like screams at the TV really aggressively. He won't miss any minute of any game. Like if he goes over to somebody's house, he has to watch it.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't seem fun. Like I think there's the line. Like at a certain point, this doesn't seem fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for wrestling fans, it's more of a niche product, a niche group. It's smaller, the fan base. So the bad fans, the overly invested fans, the aggravating fans are going to be more prominent.
Yeah.
And doubly unfortunately, exponentially unfortunately, they're always online. The worst
Yes.
wrestling fans are always online.
Also, from Twitter, X, whatever the fuck we're calling it now, you being kind of like rewarded for sometimes your takes getting so much traction, or whatever, you know, whatever you post out there getting so much, like it gets seen so much more now. Because like say you have a blue check or something, or you pay for a verified account, and you can make something bad, and the amount of people that interacts with it can benefit you. I feel like now we're seeing that kind of like an all-time worst.
Yeah, and it's just dudes like content farming for wrestling because they know like the same accounts are always going to acknowledge them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be enough to get into the feed of everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's how it really starts to gain traction.
And it's kind of just disgusting because it's just like, my thing with wrestling is, I understand it's a niche, right? Like, perfect example, I had a friend yesterday. They asked me if I wanted to go to J. Cole's festival, Dreamville Festival.
No.
So I'm like, I'm for it because I've never seen J. Cole perform live in general. So I was like, ooh, that wouldn't be bad. I looked it up. I had another friend ask me if I wanted to go to WrestleMania. It's the same fucking weekend. Like, if I wanted to go to WrestleMania, if I wanted to go to Philly for that whole weekend to see, like, ROH, GCW, all that for the whole weekend. And I'm like, these things are so niche where it's just like, oh, yeah, other big things happen around it. And when I tell people, they're like, oh, yeah, I forget. That's who you are. You are a wrestling fan. But it's like, also, they just look at it like, oh, yeah, all of you guys like wrestling. I'm like, no, it's not that way. Some wrestling fans actually absolutely fucking hate it, but they act like they love it, or they masquerade as like, oh, I just love when things were a certain way, and it's like, no, you hate a lot of shit, and you just don't know how to like rectify it in your head.
That is a fascinating kind of way to look at it. This dichotomy of like, do you even like this anymore, or do you just feed off of the reaction you get on the internet from watching this and having bad faith takes?
Oh man, I really think there is because the way like my therapist used to say is hate is just love that we just don't know how to pretty much quantify or explain. It's just another form of love, just on a very very hyper, like strong drive, like version of it. But it's just like it brings out a different feel. And it's like I feel like some wrestling fans love it to the point they've kind of despise it. It's kind of weird. Because here's my thing. If you don't like something, why the fuck do you watch it?
I mean,
To
there's
still
hate
watch it,
watching.
there's hate watching. But some people, like, it's like, do you really hate it? Or is it like, has your love just kind of like turned into tar? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and you're stuck in the quicksand.
yeah. And it's like, I feel like some people, like, they still have so many memories connected to wrestling, or it's like you have so many things and moments in time that's connected to wrestling, and you don't kind of want to let it go, but you also might not want to admit that it's past you. Like, it's something that's past that love affair or that, you know, that feeling. Because there's been moments where I could say, like, I just stepped away because it just wasn't for me. But I wonder for those people who haven't stepped away, who just now just hate everything or just hate watch.
So
You know.
I'm a person who doesn't believe in like guilty pleasures. Like I think if you derive pleasure from anything, you should enjoy it like wholeheartedly. Sounds irony. Like I don't think you should feel guilty to like love some. I don't think you should feel guilty singing along to Mariah Carey or enjoying a Limp Bizkit album or whatever it may be, and laughing at a Tim Curry Christmas movie. I don't know why 2 out of the 3 are like Christmas themed, but fuck it, whatever.
I mean, we're in the holiday season.
Yeah, it's on my mind.
I'm not gonna lie to you though. Cheesecake. As much as I love cheesecake, I shouldn't be having dairy like that. That's why it's a guilty pleasure, because it will fuck me up the next day. So I will enjoy it in this moment.
But that's not a guilty pleasure. That's a that's a reckless pleasure.
Yeah, it is.
That's instant gratification. Much different thing.
That sounds like me. That sounds like my life. Yeah, instant gratification is what I go for.
But like these people who are content farming aren't like, it's not even a guilty pleasure. I think it's just very insecure people who don't know how to fill that void.
Yeah,
they fill it with the hatred of others. But
doesn't that sound miserable? Like, that sounds like a miserable life.
Of course it is. And especially for something as silly as professional wrestling, and like even as silly as basketball or football or the movies for the most part. There's very few things that you should really be that fired up by, family, your closest friends. Do I have light? Can I eat? Outside of that, I don't think you should, unless you work in that industry, and then it goes back to like, this is my vocation, this is my passion, this is my job.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be living and dying by what the booking was this week.
Yeah.
What has Wardlow paid off? Is the bloodline storyline overbaked?
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, you gotta go touch grass, dude. There's a whole life.
It's funny, right? Like, even as you said, people who do this for a living. Like, personally, I follow some people online that have that have names like Sean Ross Sapp, Denise Salcedo. I follow certain people, Righteous Reg from Grab City, Feelings. But my thing is, I noticed something. Like, they don't just spend all day online. They put out something, or they'll live tweet about a show, but they have a whole life outside of the internet. You know what I mean? And I noticed the people who just talk about everything, like, you don't see a break in their timeline. Like, if you go on these timelines, it's just like every hour. And it's like, brother, let it go. Step away from the phone. Step away from the laptop. Step away from whatever it is that you're using. Go outside.
Fall
Go
in
do
love.
something.
Make out. Go skiing. Read a book.
Go skip it through a fucking valley of lilies. I like a damn bunch of sunflowers. I don't care, but it's like there is some things where it's just like we don't need to analyze certain stuff. Like certain stuff are not that deep. Like certain stuff we don't need dissertations. We don't need like long drawn out things. Like don't get me wrong, like I like to write video essays because it's just my perspective, but a lot of the perspectives I'm putting out is just like it's not something where I'm like bashing something. I'm not bashing no company. It's just like giving a perspective, but I'm not gonna sit here all day. Like I don't check Twitter that often. Me and you had this conversation. I've had to take Twitter off my phone because when I'm there, especially for the For You thing, like the For You thing just brings me people I've never ever followed. And sometimes I'm just like, this is too much. This is overstimulating as fuck. There's too many words of people who I don't care about. It's just, I just need to go. But it's just like, I can't be that invested and that hung up on things to the point where it's like, it makes me despise the thing I enjoy.
And you also do these essays to like further your enjoyment.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like these essays are for me for fun, for what I think would be cool to see, but it's also like it's for fun. Like it's fantasy booking. Like who doesn't like some fantasy booking? But also, guess what? I'm not that hung up on it. I'm not like, oh, my ideas is better than the people who run these. I'm not them. Like also, some takes are just like, all right, we're doing too much. We're doing too much. We're ignoring history. We're just being hyperbole to be hyperbole. It's like we're just being ridiculous. Like
talking shit just to talk shit.
Like the most popular one has been WWE, where they did more with ROH than AEW and Tony Khan has had. And I'd say to that, tell me where the fuck Evolve is. Then say that statement again. And tell me again where the fuck is Evolve. And tell me that you're not serious. Tell me that you're not serious. Like, Evolve just got picked clean bones for the talent. There hasn't been an Evolve show in God knows how long.
I think it's dead, isn't it?
They bought Evolve to be a developmental for their developmental.
Well, NXT was supposed to be a third brand.
Right.
Then they lost. And like this is where like you start getting bad faith takes. Because like objectively, like they did lose, like, and that's okay. Like it they are no longer on Wednesday night. They got beat in the ratings every week. Like, and it's not even a comparison of if NXT versus AEW, which one do you like better? Which one do you think is objectively better right now? It's just that they did lose. And I'm emphasizing that because like that is something that people would take and run with it and like start bringing up crazy stats and facts to like prove wrong. And it's so like, don't let your eyes deceive you. Like this,
exactly.
Like that's okay. Like you don't need to defend the thing that doesn't care about you. Like WWE doesn't care about you. You don't need to defend it. Sorry.
You don't need to defend these motherfuckers. Like I'm not dying on the hill to defend nobody. Nobody. I don't know these wrestlers. I don't know these organization owners. I don't know nobody. I don't know these niggas. I'm not trying to defend them. But my thing is like, so we're going to ignore, first of all, Evolve got picked clean. Bones, whatever. WCW was supposed to be their own show. Never happened. ECW was supposed to, the ECW got picked clean for their history library and got turned into God knows what fucking Frankenstein creature that was when it was WWE ECW. So
just to finish like everything I was going to
Yeah.
say there is
Sorry.
NXT was supposed to be the third brand, and then
Mhm.
Evolve was going to become their developmental. I think was the original plan.
But they never did. And once Evolve got bought, they never did a show with Evolve.
Yeah, well, I don't think because they relegated NXT back to developmental status, which is why you see
Right.
Del Sol and King on there, like that.
But then sorry, not to cut you off.
No, I'm cool. Go ahead.
No, but then the thing is, like, let's not lie and say when ROH was bought, Vince was in charge, not Triple H.
Yeah.
You think Vince gave a fuck about ROH?
No. Wait, you mean to say ROH?
ROH.
Okay. Wait,
Ring of Honor. Because people were saying that if Ring of Honor was bought by WWE, it'd be better off than if it was bought by Tony Khan.
No,
and I was
like, that's just
exactly
not, like they would. That's so
bad faith,
devoid of fact. Anything that WWE has ever done with these sort of companies. And again, it's not even as like, it's not a fuck WWE thing. It's all the reports were, and when the dirt sheets align, usually it turns out to be fact. If one of them says something, like I would say Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer are the best ones. They're right 3/4 of the time, let's say. When they align, it usually means one thing. And everybody was saying that WWE is trying to buy ROH for the library to put on the network and on Peacock. And so ROH would have been just that. They would have been a library for people to get into and to watch.
Exactly. Cool. We would never
if you want to say like ROH as a company, as a wrestling company, as a modern day present active wrestling company, it would have died if it had gone to WWE. All likelihood. It exists now. It's aggravating as shit. Like, I think it's being used poorly. Well, it would have ceased to exist in other hands.
I think one is objective. Like us talking about how we feel it's being used, that can be an objective argument.
Yeah.
Us saying that WWE would have used it better is completely a bad faith. That is completely, it's just like we're just ignoring the history of Vince McMahon to believe he gave a fuck enough. Do we forget that was when the 2.0 heavy era of NXT was happening, where all of us did not care for NXT? Like, I get it. We're in a good mode right now with a lot of things. During that time, we're not getting any Briscoes FTR matches. We're not getting any of those matches.
That's a great point.
You're not getting a Athena title run. You're not getting a good amount of things you get here. That ladder match they had in March, I want to say Supercard of Honor, that tag team ladder match, you're not getting any of that. All of that shit is out the window. Yes, can you be upset about certain things? Absolutely. Not saying people can't. But can we also be honest? And can we also not be in this weird bad faith fucking thing? I think there's a lot too many fans who are in this online, into too much wrestling discourse, bad faith shit. And I think people need to do a better way of catching some type of balance as fans of being involved in wrestling shit and having a real life.
And it's that objective, subjective thing that gets so lost on the internet of what you're saying is subjective. You are not a reporter. You're just saying your opinion.
Exactly.
And people either attack like that tweeter poster is saying a fact, or the poster pretends what they are saying is a fact and defends it venomously when somebody disagrees with them, and defends it as it is fact, and you disagreeing with them is you denying these facts.
Yeah. And it's crazy. I think, and also it's just also when I look at some things people like to revisit sometimes, like I'm like, okay, we're in a weird discourse now when we start to revisit old things and be like, you know what, this is actually not that bad. if I see another Jinder Mahal wasn't actually that bad of a champion thing, I'm gonna fucking throw my phone like a frisbee outside of the goddamn window.
Like, and listen, I will always say, like, I love the Miz's Intercontinental title reign. I don't think it's as good as Gunther's, but I think, like, in my opinion, besides Gunther, the best one I can remember in, like, since I started watching wrestling again. So, like, probably in the past 10 years. Helped bring me back into wrestling. I think it was at the perfect time too, where Brock Lesnar was doing was hoarding his championship away like a dragon protecting gold in a castle. It was what you tuned in for. Some people hate Miz and they just didn't tune in, or they tuned in and were really upset to see it. But like again, that is a subjective thing,
right?
Objectively,
exactly.
He held it for a really long time and main evented a bunch of well-received pay-per-views.
Yeah, and he had some good matches. He had that 4-way where it was him, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I want to say is in that same title reign. He had a match, the Miz. I mean, the Dolph Ziggler match. I don't really think we need to get into that. But these are things where it's like, okay, you could be subjective. You could be like objective, like I really find this really great, or you could say like, oh no, like if you look at it in that time. It was one of the only mid-card titles that really, one of the only few titles that had interest like that.
Yeah, and there's one account I follow, and I'm not going to say the name, but I used to work with this dude, and we would just sit there and argue about wrestling. Like, no,
is this the one that you put in the chat sometimes?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He is a really good example of the poster we're talking about. I'm so glad, and like I hate follow him because I find this level of disassociation so fucking funny, and I find this level of detachment from reality. And it's not his takes. He'll go on and like, okay, the devil thing. Like AEW tweets out, who do you think is the devil? And he'll reply with like a GIF that says like, I don't care. Like, and it's just like, why are you replying then?
Exactly.
Like, why are you here? Or he'll post someone's like there's actually a bunch of people did this, but JD McDonough, a reporter tweeted out JD McDonough's selling is so good, and he came back on and was like, actually this is bumping, not selling, but still very good. It's just like,
it's like why
like what, like do you really think like they need you to defend it? And like it's such a superiority complex to correct somebody. Like actually it's such a joke, like, and it's so like to see a tweet and to actually think of that correction of being, and then to feel that everybody needs to hear your correction,
right,
is so egotistical. Like I used to tweet a lot, and then one day I was about to send a tweet and I had the thought, who really cares? And I was 18. I was 18 years old. So as a grown-ass man, to not have that like barrier,
right,
of like, all right, who like really cares here? Who needs to hear this?
Yeah, understood.
I think it turns into such a vortex and brings down the enjoyment of really beautiful, fun product.
I will tell you this, and I've thought about this. I think, and again, I don't want nobody to feel that way when I say this. It's just my own personal thought. I think in general in life, right, most human beings are lonely, especially after the pandemic time. because you're separated from so many people, you don't get to be around so many
Yeah.
people. You've kind of gotten stuck into the habit of kind of maybe isolation. And I think some of these people who send out a lot of these hate tweets or whatever, they're so sad and lonely. They just want some type of fucking attention or like
Yeah.
any type of interaction because this is the only way they can get it. And it just sucks because why do you need to get it in a negative context? Why does it have to be something?
They'll take it any way they can.
Yeah, and it's just sad because I'm just like, it shouldn't be this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
There
I
are
think that.
good things from the internet. Like without the internet, we would have never gotten the news about NWA blowing their figure deal over a cocaine spot.
I want your take on this before I say anything. I am very interested.
I mean, there's really only one like objective opinion if we're gonna keep like going down that route, is that wasn't worth it. Like
It
you
wasn't.
10 milli off of like wanting to be edgy or like cocaine is cool or
It's so weird. It's like what? It's like you. I can't believe. Like, here's my thing. You knew you had the CW deal on the table before you okayed the spot. Why would you think with no pen to paper, no ink dried, that you should still do this?
I mean,
And it's just.
the report is that Billy Corgan thought Billy Corgan, who was the lead singer of the grunge band Smashing Pumpkins and once got cucked by Kurt Cobain, that the execs at CW weren't watching the pay-per-views. But to believe that you were going to do a cocaine spot in 2023 and it wasn't going to be clipped and put on the internet for everybody to see, that it wasn't going to get back to the executives, is so ridiculous. Is so dumb. It's just dumb.
The funniest thing to me is, so I seen the clip, right? I seen the clip way before. I seen the clip a little bit before the whole CW thing popped up, and I was like, "What's the point of this? Like, what was the point of even doing this? Like, this just seems just shock culture for." Yeah, it just seems shock culture for shock culture. You know what I mean? It was just like, "Oh, this is just shock worthy." I'm like, this don't even make no fucking sense. Then to find out, you just thought, "Oh, these people, these higher ups are just never going to see this." Are you fucking dumb? Do you know how you like?
So dumb.
And I'm like, all right. I know we talk about some promoters or some wrestling owners being dumb. Billy Corgan, you hitting up there, buddy.
Well, there's like dumb. There's like making bad decisions, and then there's dumb, or bad booking, or shitty creative, and then there's.
He had Tyrus as the champion.
Yeah, that's shitty booking.
He had Tyrus as the champion, just blew a CW deal. That is
dumb is Billy Corgan believing that them doing cocaine on his pay-per-view wouldn't be seen by the executives who were about to dedicate in like hours of programming on their television show and a lot of money to this television program, that they weren't going to do their due diligence and see this. So he must have either there's that option, which is dumb, or he believed it wouldn't bother them for whatever reason. That I think is kind of a different story. Is like he thought it wouldn't bother them. All right. Bold.
Soup ballsy. Ballsy
Ballsy as fuck. Like, sure, put them in a wheelbarrow and really saunter around with them out.
And
Billy Corgan, lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins, and once got cucked by Kurt Cobain, really needed this manly win.
And you know what the issue I have for it is? Like, I can't, like, all right, like, I never watched NWA Power. I never really got into NWA. Like, I've always seen clips of it. It was interesting. And then when I look at their original roster, I'm like, I don't know how y'all didn't really get this where it should have been, because you had, like, Nick Aldis, you had Eddie Kingston, Ricky Starks, you had Thunder Rosa in your women division. You had a lot of shit going. You had a lot of pieces there. But now when I see decisions like this, I'm like, oh, I see it. I'm like,
I think, like the pandemic really fucked them.
Yeah, because you're gonna have a live crowd in that kind of recorded studio that they had.
Yeah.
But also, it's just like the fact of like, this makes me look at your decision making, like, because there's no way. And mind you, for NWA to get that deal is big. Because I don't think a lot of people outside, like, I think like there's a decent amount of people in the wrestling bubble that pays attention to NWA. Very decent. Okay.
Nobody outside. No, I mean like nobody outside the bubble gives a shit about NWA.
No, but I mean like even in the bubble, it's very decent. Like, I think more people care about Impact than they do NWA. Like, I think that's very fair to say.
Okay. Yeah.
So for you to get a CW deal on the table and you blow it, it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? And not only did you blow it, it instantly went to WWE. Like, they was like, fuck that. Hey, would you want this deal?
It's right here.
WWE was like, thank you kindly.
We're not going to a cocaine spot.
We're all about development.
But if I am Billy Corgan, I am in Billy Corgan's brain, and I'm having all of my thoughts that I am the lead singer of a rock band and was once cucked by Kurt Cobain. If you get anything out of this podcast, it's to remember Billy Corgan was cucked by Kurt Cobain. Okay? Just want that out. And I'm carrying around that deep, dark thought. Perhaps
I think you carried it on to him.
Perhaps
you carried it on longer than him.
Perhaps some insecurity. And whatever happened afterwards, if I'm Billy Corgan, it was worth it. It was worth having James Mitchell snort lines of cocaine live on pay-per-view and having the commentator go, ooh, wow, looks like they're having a good time. It was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth that 10 milli for that 90 seconds of awkward, stunted, aggressively contrived, edgy, fake TV. It was all worth it.
I'll take your word for it, Jack, because it ain't worth it to me. I'll take your word for it, because it ain't worth it for me.
No, this is not Jack. This is Jack.
I'm telling you right now, as somebody who likes wrestling, I don't see how this benefits your company at all.
Jack doesn't think it's worth it. Jack, as Billy Corgan, is chanting in his head, Billy, Billy, Billy. Nice job, Billy. You did it again. You got him.
You know what's funny? When you think about it, him being I don't even know how old Billy Corgan is, but him being like, I want to say middle-aged rock star. I think that's fair.
He's old enough to get cut by Kurt Cobain.
So, older rock star. To him, this was probably really like hardcore. This is like some top tier shit. And then I'm like, what was that room like when you threw out that idea? Like, what was the discussion? Like, did no one say, "Hey, are we sure about this?"
The reports is that everybody said no, and Billy Corgan pushed it through as like lead decision maker and president, and insisted that the spot go on. Everybody said no, not even on the basis of like CW, but just of like.
I don't think I need to say anything else. I think that said it all right there. I think when everybody else says no, you go through and you blow a deal. I don't think I need to say shit. I don't think I need to say shit.
Yeah, and it's sad because like I really loved the original NWA Power. I was watching that every week up until the pandemic.
You was telling me that you was a fan of NWA Power, and I was just like, I ain't never even watched the episode.
It was good wrestling. It was a different style. It committed to a different style. Like they weren't making any concessions or compromises. Nick Aldis is fantastic. I think he's a great champion. And I was really excited to see where it was going to go, and then the pandemic hit, and then it came back, and I watched the first episode, and I was like, oh, they got lost in the weeds somewhere. And then Trevor Murdoch won the championship, and I was like, I'm never watching this shit again. Like, I don't need to see Trevor Murdoch as a champion in 2023 or 2021 or whatever.
In the year of our Lord and Savior, you have Trevor Murdoch and Tyrus as your fucking champions on a roster where you had fucking like Nick Aldis, Kobe Kadeem, you had Darius Lockhart in this fucking roster, and you give me Trevor fucking Murdoch, and you give me... Oh God! All right, this is depressing me. Like the more I think about them, the more it depresses me.
And also the Tyrus thing is like, you know, the argument always is, well, they want the championship to be seen on Fox. There's a reason why they're doing it. They want the championship to be seen on television. But it didn't draw in any more viewers. It's like the David Arquette WCW title thing. It didn't draw any more viewers, like just because it was seen nationally. You're not going to get viewers that way. You're going to get viewers by having a really good product. Like,
also,
this idea that the way wrestling needs to transcend into the mainstream is by martyring itself and making a mockery of itself so that people outside of the bubble will look at it is just not sustainable.
Also, 50-something-year-old Tyrus on fucking Fox promoting this thing, but then you have a cocaine spot after promoting yourself to a conservative fucking viewership does not equal. Oh God, the level of stupidity.
And it's like, let's say somebody sees it on Fox and goes, all right, I'm going to watch this. And then they watch a Tyrus match. That's not going to bring them back.
If anything, it's going to push me farther away.
Right. Like, if by this miracle, this equation that you've worked out, which is like Tyrus as champion plus the championship being seen on TV equals more viewership, that viewership is going to dwindle because it's not entertaining and it's not interesting. They're putting on shitty matches.
Tyrus hasn't been
Tyrus as champion. I watched a couple of his championship matches. They're bad. They weren't good.
I didn't need you to tell me that. Tyrus is bad when he was young. Like Tyrus is bad. Like, you don't get better with age in wrestling. You don't get better with age. He was like Tyrus is 50. That means when he was like actually in WWE, he was 40. Which means he's never been good on TV. He's never been good on national television wrestling. And you don't get better at wrestling from 40 to 50. That's actually
when you haven't done it in years.
And not to lie, you're a big man. Big men age like avocados in wrestling. Okay, like their prime is very short, and then they just die out. Like it's super quick. So,
All right.
I mean, that's
We,
enough of that.
yeah.
They depress me, but I want to get into something fun.
Yeah.
I want to get into something.
Mm-hmm. We'll be doing Jack watches WCW for the first time next week, but this week we're going to be booking our Wrestling World Cup.
I will let you know
in the background.
I will find something to put there. I'll put in some like, but not too much of it. Because you know,
I put my World Cup. So we're gonna draft this.
So let the people know. Jack has his whole World Cup drafted and scaled for this next thing. So we came up with the decision to do a World Cup for wrestling. It so happened that AEW decided to announce a continent fucking like tournament.
Stole our idea, but
it just so happened to work. So it's like, you know, timing just happened to like. But also, Jack has his people out, he has everything. I am going from the hip. I am on the fly. We are figuring this out. There's gonna be a lot of bumps in minds. Jax is probably gonna move as hell. It's probably gonna look like Vince shiny head. It's just
I have like a full page of notes that I did separate from our shared notes so that you couldn't copy me. I have like 2 draft picks for each country. I have backup countries. I have it seeded. I have the whole tournament running. I've been sweating over this.
I feel like Ralph Wiggum. I'm in danger. I'm in danger. All right. What are the rules to this World Cup?
8-person tournament. 1 person for each country. We're both gonna draft. We have to say our seed when we draft and what country they're representing. Single elimination. 8-person single elimination.
Okay.
If you draft them, that wrestler is no longer available, but that country still is.
Okay, cool. Okay, I got some.
You are less prepared. I'll let you have first pick.
Oh, Bryan Danielson. That's my first pick.
Okay, Bryan Danielson off the board.
Yeah, Bryan Danielson's off the board.
So I'm drafting my wrestlers not just based on their ability.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what seed are you putting USA then?
First seed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm writing it down too. Like I'm writing down my thing so I can look at it. So wait, are we doing like 1 versus 8, 2 versus like 7, like how they do in the NBA?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Cool.
And I have not just like I have it not just the best wrestler from each country.
Mm-hmm.
I also have it as who represents that country's style of wrestling the best.
Ooh, okay.
As well as my seeds, I have not just like who I think is the best wrestler, their countries, like the wrestlers they've produced and their tradition in professional wrestling, their promotions, their shows, how strong they are.
Okay.
My first pick is it's a linchpin in my tournament. It's going to be my 3rd seed, but it's crucial to my tournament as a whole. I'm going with Gunther from Austria in the 3rd seed.
Okay. That's a good pick. Ooh, Gunther's a good pick. This would be my 4th. This would be my 4th seed.
Okay.
All right. This one, hold on. Because Gunther's Austria?
Yeah, Gunther's Austria, who like willed Austria into the 3rd seed on some like Ronaldo in Portugal shit.
Okay.
Like, don't worry, I'm throwing the team on my back.
For my 4th seed, Ilya Dragunov.
That's a good one.
hmm And that's Russia for my first seed.
We really could have gone 16, but that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's. Listen, if you want us to do 16, if you read this, you see us on YouTube, you comment. Also, to let everybody know, by the time this goes up, our social medias will be up. So
Oh,
if
love
you
it.
want to see, so YouTube's, I mean, on the Instagram and Twitter is going to be everything wrestling with romance. If you want to see a 16, tell us. We'll do a whole episode dedicated to 16. Well, we can do that.
That
This
draft is
time I'll
going to be
actually
a
draft.
dog fight.
Ooh, that one's going to be a bitch. That one's going to be a but Ilya, yeah, Ilya's going to be my fourth seed.
I'm going to go next with my second seed pick.
Mm-hmm.
We're going USA. And
Okay.
this is really where my like style of wrestling is heavily factored here. For
Okay.
USA, I'm going Cody Rhodes.
Ooh, okay. Cody Rhodes. So we got Cody Rhodes. That's your first seed?
That's my second seed.
Second seed. Okay. All right. My fourth. Okay. Mm. Ooh, this one's tough for me because it's two. It's two for me. I'm going to put this as my fifth seed. What do I want, though? Okay. For my fifth seed, Mexico. Andrade.
Okay, good pick.
That also means my 4-5 seed is Andrade versus Ilya.
That's such a good match. When we see this out, the match is going to be sick. Like when we break down to the bracket.
Because I just thought about the chops and the hits, and I was just thinking about the lucha and the I was just like, give it to me. Give it to me.
I'm going to go with my number 1 seed now.
Okay.
Going with Japan.
Oh, shit, you bastard. I can already feel me being
It's
pissed
actually
off.
a super pick. I don't think you saw this one coming. Maiko Satomura. Gonna be my representing Japan in the number 1 seed. To me, the greatest wrestler I've ever watched. She is. I've never seen anything but a great match from her. Her battles with Aja Kong is one of my favorite matches ever. I think she can do greatness with anybody, and I think she represents Japan perfectly.
All right. I like that. And that was your what seed? Your first seed?
That was my first seed. First seed, Japan is my number 1 seed.
Okay. Then my second seed, representing England, UK, Zack Sabre Jr.
Fuck! Oh, that was gonna be my pick.
You shouldn't let me get to it first.
That fucks up my whole tournament because he was gonna win it. He was gonna win my whole tournament. Oh fuck! I have to scramble.
Yeah, we're in the same boat now, baby.
Shit. I should have drafted him earlier. I should have that should have been my next pick. I thought for sure you would draft Ospreay, who will be my pick now. Let me just go ahead and draft him.
You know what you said that changed that when you said represents their country's style.
Yeah.
Of what, and I was just like, I don't think anybody represents that like real technical mastery of like work the way Zack Sabre Jr. does.
Yeah, he is perfect for it. Like and traditionally too, like that World of Sport catch can style.
Also, I misspoke. The United Kingdom he represents. I said England. I said England. I'm just an ignorant. I'm an ignorant American.
So I got Ospreay. Ospreay for the United Kingdom representing now.
All right.
They're my 4th seed.
Coming in. Where should I put this person? Actually, because I want this match so bad right now. And I want it. At my 8th seed, Shibata. I'm going to have Shibata at my 8th seed.
Japan is your 8th seed?
Listen, Shibata Danielson as my first match is a match. I don't give a fuck what happens after. I don't give a fuck what happens after.
So you're putting your finger on the scales to make your matches happen, which is fair. Hey, listen, it's a carny business out there.
Hey, listen, my first matchups are Ilya versus Andrade and Danielson versus Shibata. It don't matter where we go from there. I don't care.
I'll go now with my 5th seed. I'm finally going in Mexico. I'm going Vikingo.
Ooh.
Yeah, a little injection. We have a lot of guys in their prime. I want the next up.
Okay. For my 6th seed, Malachi Black.
Fuck. Oh, that was my 8th seed. and that eliminates all of the Netherlands. So that's really a big brain pick.
I was at the gym earlier, right? And I was like, all right, who am I grabbing? I'm definitely grabbing Malachi. I'm definitely grabbing Andrade. I'm grabbing these people. To be honest, it was between Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah,
when you said that part. And then once you said that part, I was like, nah, I'm going with Zack Sabre Jr.
All right, now I have to go into my backup countries. But we'll get there. In the meantime, because I really can't lose him, I'm going to draft my 6th seed, Jay White from New Zealand.
That's a good one. I still got a 3rd and a 7th. Okay. Oh, this one's tough because it's between 2. Okay. I'm going to just go for it. Fuck it. For my 3rd seed, Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega for my 3rd seed.
You're going Canada. Yeah. No. Fuck. And I left Canada out of my country, and I don't know why.
I'm not going to tell you who my other person was. So, you got to figure out that pick for yourself.
Oh, fuck. Why did I skip over Canada? That's amateur hour out here. Kenny Omega with the last 2 picks in the draft. Damn. Can't believe we passed that shit over. All right. For my 7th, actually, I'm going to draft my 8th seed now. I'm going Drew McIntyre from Scotland.
Ooh, son of a bitch.
I had to. That's why I went early. I had to block. I had a feeling he was in your mind somewhere, and it fucks up the country of Scotland.
Oh, that throws me off so much, you son of a bitch. You son of a
bitch.
Shit. Fuck. Okay. Give me a second. I'm looking this one up. I need to find somebody. I need to find somebody from a place we have not said yet. I'm thinking. I already got Mexico off the board. USA's off the board for me.
Yeah.
Mexico's off the board.
This is interesting now because you get into the smaller countries with less of a tradition.
Yeah.
There's 1, 2, maybe 3 wrestlers from these countries.
Yeah. And it's hard. Once you hit this level, it's like, oof, all right. Where are we really going? I refuse to take you, sir. You can go fuck yourself. I'll tell you in a second after we get through this.
We'll share afterwards.
Yeah, because I'm typing in countries right now.
They're great. There's some although they're only represented by a couple, there are greats from the smaller countries.
Oh wait, I'm bugging. Buddy Matthews, thank you. Buddy Matthews with my what pick is that? Buddy Matthews with my 7th pick. My 7th pick.
What, 7th?
That's my 7th seed. That's my last pick. Yeah,
Right, because you got
Buddy Matthews.
in an 8th seed. So I'm gonna complete the union,
Mm-hmm.
and for my 7th seed and my 8th pick,
Mm-hmm.
finishing out the tournament, I'm going Rhea Ripley, Australia.
Nice.
So run down your seeds for me.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna give it to you right now. I'm just make sure I have it in my phone right here.
I have, yeah.
All right. So first seed is Bryan Danielson.
Okay.
Second seed is Zack Sabre Jr. Third seed is Kenny Omega. Fourth seed is Ilya Dragunov. Fifth seed is Andrade. My sixth seed is Malachi Black. Seventh seed is Buddy Matthews. Eighth seed is Shibata.
Okay. And so we got Danielson versus Shibata.
Oh!
We have Sabre versus Buddy Matthews.
I love that.
That is a really good matchup.
Oh, the third seed.
Kenny Omega versus Malachi Black, which is one of those in AEW that we never got that we were like begging for. Do you remember when they got into the ring together for that during that trios match and the crowd popped just at that matchup?
Listen,
like just at the idea of them facing each other?
If there's one thing that needs to come from this Continental thing, I don't care what I gotta sell. I don't care on my body to get this match. You give it to me. God damn it, you give it to me.
Give me what I want. Give me what I
want.
And then we got Dragunov El Idolo, 4 versus 5 Russia Mexico, which is another absolute. You have a guy who thinks like pro wrestling is real and a guy who hasn't tried in pro wrestling in like 15 years and is still like one of the best in the world. Just a fascinating dichotomy.
So I typed in German wrestlers, and one of the names was David Finlay, and I said, fuck. That's when I said, fuck out of here. I'm not picking you, sir.
That was it?
Yeah, that was David Finlay.
My backup countries were, I had Ireland, which was either going to be Finn Balor or Becky Lynch.
Finn was there. I'm a Finn. I've always been a Finn fan, but I'm not going to lie here. I got nothing but heat on this side. Like this is some pure fire.
Right. Like, there was no matchup where I could slot in Finn Balor and like get excited about.
No.
And you'll see why, because like that would have been my 8th seed, and you're gonna realize what my 1 versus 8 is in a minute, and like it just wouldn't have been the same with Finn Balor. And then my other backup country was Bulgaria and Miro, which again I didn't. I was also thinking China and Chima, but Bulgaria and Miro lost out because tradition of like that country's tradition pro wrestling is so low. Like Scotland has a few pro wrestlers who have like there was a minute where like every champion fucking WWE was Scottish.
Yeah, that's true. Funny enough,
pointing it out.
I was surprised you didn't pick like Mike Bailey. I was like, Mike Bailey from Canada is like
he was definitely on my mind. I thought about him for a while. I haven't watched enough Mike Bailey matches to make that happen. That's why I bowed out. But
got you.
Stands, we have 1 versus 8, Japan versus Scotland, Meiko Satomura versus Drew McIntyre.
Not gonna lie, that actually sounds pretty dope. Not gonna lie.
Sounds absolutely fucking incredible. Like everybody would sign up to watch that match.
Yeah.
2 versus 7, we have USA versus Australia. We have Cody Rhodes versus Rhea Ripley. I would say,
I mean, we can see that any day WWE feels like.
Anytime they want to pull that trigger. 3 versus 6, we have Gunther versus from Australia versus Jay White from New Zealand. Styles make fights.
That's a good match.
They perfectly complement each other. Bruiser versus like heel technician.
Also, you know what I love about Gunther? Gunther for a big man is an incredible seller. Like, people don't
Yeah.
pay attention to the fact of, for a big man, he actually sells, not that like he's in danger, but that he can deal with pain, and he gives his opponent just enough for the fans to buy it.
And he sells exactly the way a monster should.
Exactly. He doesn't do the
Waits and
WWE
waits
monster.
and waits. And then
Hmm.
finally, and it's something like Brock Lesnar does really well too. He waits and
Yes.
waits and waits. And then when finally he's willing to give it, he gives all of it into a bump or into the impact or whatever. And then he
Not gonna,
carries that throughout the rest of the match.
not gonna lie to you. If you had let me draft Gunther, I would have drafted fucking Brock Lesnar. if you had let me draft Gunther, like you said Gunther early, I was gonna draft Brock.
So your draft is more based upon like who are they gonna fight in, which is a perfectly smart way to do it.
But also it's like the next
kind
few
of
rounds.
drafting like best wrestler, best country, best representation of style, and letting the chips fall where they may. And in this one, in my 4 versus 5, it was my opening matchup I'm most excited for, and chips fell exactly where they should. We're getting Ospreay versus Vikingo.
Ooh, spot food like a motherfucker. Ooh, this flippy shit on another level. That is.
Right. I'll run down my results.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go through mine, but go ahead.
1 versus 8, Maiko versus Drew McIntyre. The 1 seed is gonna take it. Maiko advances to the next round. She's favorite for a reason. Can't keep up. Next we have 2 versus 7. We got Cody Rhodes versus Rhea Ripley. Cody Rhodes is going away with that one. The American Nightmare, it says it right there in his name. He's gonna bring the USA into the second round, into the semis. 3 versus 5. We've got Gunther versus Jay White, or 3 versus 6, excuse me. We're gonna see our first upset of the tournament. Jay White, our underdog, is going over the top-seeded Gunther in Austria.
Ooh. Okay.
4 versus 5, Ospreay versus Vikingo. Personally, I would like to see Vikingo continue into the tournament, but I think what makes most sense, both for business and in kayfabe, Ospreay has to win. He wins in the fashion of, I can do this flippy shit, but I can also wrestle any type of style and be the best at that, and you just haven't learned that yet, kid. And pulls it out again with a couple power moves that Vikingo just can't do at this point.
Yep. Okay.
So now we go into Japan versus New England. We have Maiko versus Satomura. We have Maiko Satomura versus Jay White, that's a really fun one.
That's a good one.
That's a really fun one. To see where the chips fall. That's just luck of the wrestling gods there.
Yeah.
Maiko's going over, advancing into the finals. Now we have US versus UK.
Okay.
In my original booking, where I had Zack Sabre Jr. in my hands, Zack Sabre Jr. wins this and goes on to win the entire tournament. Because I think
I took that away from you.
Took that away from you. Threw my whole fucking tournament into disarray. And I think he would be a really great representation of professional wrestling for the country. I think style can take down anybody. And I think he's just so able to break it down. And also Zack Sabre Jr., trumpeting himself as a World Cup winner would be so fucking funny. He would be so good in that role.
Right.
But as it is, we have Cody Rhodes versus Will Ospreay. Cody Rhodes going over. And we end up with 2 versus 1. The Juggernauts, Japan versus the US. We have Maiko Satomura versus Cody Rhodes for the World Cup. Maiko goes over. And is our World Cup champion, Maiko Satomura. Comes in at the number 1 seed, dominates, ends it exactly as it should, as predicted. Michael Satomura is our World Cup winner.
Gotcha. All right. I just finished came up with mine, so here's my booking. All right. So in my 1 versus 8 match, we have a dream match, a dream masochist match of just abuse of Shibata versus Danielson.
You're getting a lot of hard strikes and a lot of technical wrestling. A great match.
A beautiful mix. A match I think we've all wanted to see with all their health issues and everything. I think it's just a beautiful thing.
That's a really interesting story as well.
Exactly. I have Danielson beating Shibata. I love Shibata. Shibata's like one of the few people that are just like, he made me feel like, damn, if I did wrestling, I want to be a striker.
Yeah.
But I feel like in this case, I just see Danielson right now. Like, when Danielson's in the ring, there's very few people better.
Agreed. Maybe nobody better.
There might not be anybody better. So right now, I have Danielson beating him. I have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Buddy, which I think is a very interesting contrast to styles. The technical style, Buddy's style is very interesting to me when he does singles matches. I like his singles matches. Mainly, I love that Darby match. But I still have Zack Sabre Jr. going over Buddy Matthews.
I would be mad as shit if Buddy Matthews won that match.
Then we have Kenny versus Malachi.
Great.
Just the thought of it makes my eyes water up. But I do have Kenny going over Malachi.
Yeah. No upsets.
And then, no upsets. We ain't got no upsets right now. Then we have Ilya versus Andrade. You can't beat a man who thinks this shit is real. And the passion pours out of him like he is just like in the middle of everything. Like that's impossible to beat.
In the 8th minute of this match, Andrade is just going, no mas. No mas.
Oh, I'm telling you,
out of there.
When they do the chop exchange, it's going to sound like gunshots is just going off in the arena. It's going to sound magical. But I do have Ilya beating Andrade.
Yeah.
So then that sets me up for Danielson versus Ilya and Kenny versus Zack Sabre Jr. And my God, is that just... I'll be honest with you, I haven't even booked past that because just the thought of it is so scintillating. It gives me goosebumps. It gives me goosebumps. Like I'm just like, ooh. Just like, but
it's enough to bring you pause.
I do have Danielson beating Ilya. While Ilya is abusive and on ways that's just borderline sadistic, Danielson's the type of person that would almost look at Ilya and be like, harder. And
then Ilya's just not going to know what to do.
And Ilya's just going to be like, well, this man is sicker than me. This man is much more. And I feel like that's just a brutality match. Like, I feel like, you ever seen Gunther Ilya in the empty arena?
Of course.
I feel like it's that on the speed. Like, because it's just faster. It's just.
I'm picturing Ilya going for that, like, corkscrew headbutt and Danielson just kicking him. Like, kicking him right in the head, like, as he dives into him.
I almost had that into the Psycho knee, like the running knee. So, like, as he's leaning in, Danielson just, and I'm just.
It's something evil.
Evil, and I love it. I got Danielson beating Ilya.
Okay.
I don't even know if they've ever had a match. I've never seen a Kenny versus Zack Sabre Jr. match. I don't even know if that's happened.
I'm sure it's happened.
It had to, but many times.
At some point.
But
I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. in particular was a different wrestler then.
Exactly. So I'm talking like right now, it's going to be an incredible match. But I do have Kenny winning.
Yeah,
and I have
deny that.
And I have Kenny winning because then I win because I get the match I have been waiting 2 years to get a proper resolution for after seeing it live. I get Danielson versus Kenny.
Somebody has to win here.
Someone
can't have a draw in the World Cup final.
Has to win. And I think I'm giving it to Danielson. I would give it to Danielson.
Yeah.
Right now, Danielson and Kenny in a ring together. Danielson would win. And that would be my World Cup winner.
I don't think anybody's going to be upset with that.
Nah. I'm not going to lie, though.
Yeah.
I did think about putting Andrade over Ilya.
You can't. Like, Andrade isn't going to... He's not showing up to the second round. He's busy.
I think Andrade... I think I also didn't want to do it because... I didn't want to do it because... Like, don't get me wrong, I really did like Andrade Danielson. I love that match. I was like, see Andrade Danielson again. I'm leaving it up to Zack Sabre Jr. versus Andrade versus possibly Kenny. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about these possibilities.
I think having Kenny and Danielson in the World Cup final is so perfect because, it's the best matchup you could possibly make.
Absolutely.
2, it has storytelling capabilities of they had that one match without that wasn't for a title, ended in a draw, and now you have a match that still isn't for a title, so you can still do that down the line, but somebody has to win here.
Like, there needs to be a winner. There's no draws, there's no sharing of cups, there's no co-winners. There needs to be a motherfucking pinfall.
That's such good shit.
And the fact, I kid you not, like, even with the tournament they have announced, I'm probably getting my ticket for World End next week. I'm like, listen, humor me. Actually give me Kenny and Danielson.
That's what everybody's predicting is going to happen.
I say why not?
And Kenny, which, great. Like, there's no complaints for that shit.
I mean, honestly, once they announced it and then they showed how the matches are breaking up, I was like, oh, so every show has a tournament match up until World's End. And I was just like, that's how you make me feel good, baby. That's how you keep me here. That's something we're all interested in. That's something every AEW Day One person is interested in. And frankly, every wrestling fan should be. If you really love professional wrestling, that's both in our incredibly booked World Cups and the Continental Classic are things that you should go out of your way to watch. And I'm saying that now because AEW, even through all its trials and tribulations, always puts on very good matches when they put all the bullshit to the side. Top tier. And the funniest thing was, I seen somebody said, but what is this for? And I said, who gives a fuck?
Right.
I just want to see top tier wrestling. And if you telling me I'm getting top tier wrestling from here until the end of the year, I'm fed. I'm good. That means we getting top tier with consequential, actual results that matter matches from Thanksgiving till New Year's Eve.
Beautiful.
I'm so full. I'm so happy.
All right, let us know who did the World Cup better.
Yes.
Yes, on our social medias and on the YouTubes and the Spotifys and all that. Leave comments. Let us know whose tournament you would rather see. Let us know how you would book your tournament.
Yes. And if you have,
now we can do a Danielson versus a Maiko because we had different finals.
You know what? On top of that, if you want us to book, like I do, if you want us to book a 16-person one, let us know. And what we can do is, I do A block, Jack could do B block, and then from there, the winners of each will face off. Yeah. And then we'll really go. And what we'll do is 2 people per country. So it's 2 from US, 2 from UK, 2 from, because that's the only way. Because listen, there ain't enough wrestlers from all over the world for us to just pick one of each country.
16 countries with professional wrestlers.
Shit, you better than me. You better than me. I'm like,
it gets tough because certain countries like Spain, you only have a kid.
But also, once you cut out UK, boy, it gets a little funny. Once you cut out the United Kingdom, it gets a little fuzzy. When you cut out Mexico and you cut out the United Kingdom with one pick, it gets a little fuzzy.
We could weight it where it's like a country is like United States, United Kingdom, Japan. You get 2 wrestlers.
Yeah, I can see. Okay,
and then fill it out that way.
And then, as you said, Netherlands, you only got 1, so that one is off the board. So
right. Okay. And then you could, then it's less stress, and it's a better tournament, frankly.
So if you want a 16, let us know. But yeah, follow us on Instagram, Wrestling with Wromance, Twitter, Wrestling with Wromance. You can check out the YouTube for the live version of this at Wrestling with Wromance, put in episode 4. And we will see you guys next week where Jack's going to also, I got like 2 matches for you that I think you're going to love. Because I got some Sting matches. I got 1 or 2 Sting matches.
Oh, that's going to be great. And it's great because I've watched pro wrestling from all over. But I just haven't watched WCW at all.
I went looking. I got some Rey Mysterio with no mask matches here.
Into the annals and the archives.
Yeah. Some of the Nitros I used to watch. I was just like, ooh, these got some classics. So, Jack will be giving his review of that next week. But beyond that, we are out of here.
Howdy 3000.
See you guys later.